Okay, so we've covered the 3 different shapes that we find the volume of in 8th grade. We're just going to do a quick little recap and have a mixed day. So refreshing our memory on volume of all 3. Because the trickiest part is, of course, on the STAR chart, they don't necessarily give you the formulas that we've been using. So if we remember, the volume formula they gave me for cylinders was V equals BH. But we replaced capital B with the area of the base, which is the circle, and used pi r squared instead. Then we did the same thing with cone, V equals 1/3 BH. But then again, we replaced area of the base with pi r squared. So it's the same thing as cylinder, but with a 1/3 in front. Now, volume of spheres is the easiest because they always give me this formula on the STAR chart, 4/3 pi r cubed instead of squared. But then we have to be on the lookout for hemispheres, which is when it's half a sphere, and we divide by 2, our answer, okay? And that's it. Now, the main thing when you're seeing these questions is first ask yourself, what part of the circle did they give me? For instance, on number 1, the part of the circle they gave me was the radius, so I don't need to cut it in half. And what shape is it? It's a cylinder. So it's V equals pi times 3 squared times 12 in this case. Pi is second caret top times 3 squared times 12. And that's my answer. We're going to round to, I guess, the 10th place today. Or let's go ahead and do hundredths, which is 2 decimal places. So we're going to go 339.29. And technically it would be feet cubed. Okay. Number 2, also a cylinder, but this time it gave me the diameter. So we have to cut the 10 in half, and we're going to use 5 instead. Same formula, pi times 5 squared times 20. But again, if you don't cut the diameter in half, then you're going to get it wrong. And we're going to round to the hundredths place. So it'd be 1570.80 centimeters cubed. Okay. Then we move on to the cone. Remember, the cone is similar to the cylinder with a 1/3. They gave me the radius, so I don't need to cut it in half. So we're going to do 1/3 pi times 4 squared times 8. I'll always do double. And we're going to round to the hundredths, so it'd be 134.04 inches cubed. Okay. On number 4, also a cone, but they gave me the diameter, so we're going to cut it in half. And it's going to be 1/3 times pi times 6 squared times 15. Oh my goodness, I always do that. And it would be 565.49 units cubed. Okay. Then the sphere, of course, is 4/3 pi times the radius, and we do have to cut it in half since it is a diameter, so we're going to use 13 instead, but then you cube it, okay? So the only reason I see people messing up on the spheres is because we're so used to the cone being 1/3 that they put 1/3 instead of 4/3, or sometimes they put 3/4 for some reason because they're rushing. Don't forget it is cubed, so caret top 3, and then we're going to go to the hundredths place. Now, if this had been a hemisphere, just to talk about it because it's not on here, but if it had been a hemisphere, that means half of the sphere, I would have to divide my answer by 2 and get a whole different answer. So always be on the lookout for hemispheres. The radius is already there, so we're just going to use 4/3 pi times 8 cubed. Oh my goodness. I'm so used to doing alpha y1, I think that's why. Oh my gosh. Oh gosh. Times. Okay, so my answer would be 2,144.66 units cubed. And again, if I had the hemisphere here, I would divide by 2 to get my final answer. And then, of course, you have to be prepared for word problems or for them to put it into a sentence rather than a picture. Number 7 says the volume of a cylinder with a 12-inch diameter and a height of 8. What part of the circle did they give me? They gave me the diameter, which means I have to cut the 12 in half. So always be careful of which one you do cut in half. Pi times 6 squared times 8. And we're going to go 2 decimal places, so 904.78 inches cubed. Number 8 says find the volume of a cone with a radius of 12 and a height of 18. They did give me the radius there, so I don't have to cut it in half. Just making sure that we set it up correctly. Oh my gosh. Okay, and so it'd be 271.34 inches cubed. Number 9 says find the volume of a sphere with a 10-inch diameter. Because they gave me diameter, I do have to cut it in half. And then since it doesn't mention a hemisphere, we don't need to cut the answer in half. So always be on the lookout for words like hemisphere or half a sphere, just in case they try to trick us that way. Oh gosh. Getting ahead of myself. And so 523.60 inches cubed. Okay.